Today's lesson is how to calculate the volume of a cone. So before we get started, let's kind of review from the other video about pyramids. Remember, a cone is a shape that has one base, and the base shape in a cone is a circle. Its prism cylinder counterpart is a cylinder, so cones kind of correspond to cylinders. Remember, if the shape has the same base shape and size, as well as height, the volume of the shape with one base is a third of its counterpart over here with two bases. So in order to calculate the volume of a cone, if it has one base, it is a third of the volume. So the way that we're going to write that formula for volume, it's 1/3 area of the base times height. Remember, capital B stands for area of the base, H stands for height. So let's kind of substitute in. The volume is 1/3. In a circle, or in a cone, my base shape is a circle. Looks like this. So when I simplify and substitute in my area of the base formula, I'm going to put pi r squared in that formula because my shape for my base is a circle. So then we're going to go ahead and substitute even further. 1/3 pi. My radius goes from the center to a point on the circle, so 9 squared. And my height is the distance from this pointed piece straight down to the center of the circle, which in this case is 15 inches. We're going to go ahead and type this into our calculator, but before we do, I'm going to go ahead and color code it for you. I seem to have forgotten that. So remember, our area of our base, we substitute depending on what the base shape is. The area formula for base changes. So since it's a circle and a cone, we use pi r squared. And for our height, remember, our height is kind of like an altitude. So I've got height, and height. So what we're going to do on this kind of problem, we're going to do exact volume first to kind of talk about what exact volume is. Remember, exact volume is where pi is in our answer. We are not going to press the pi button for this first piece. So what we're going to do, I'm going to cover up pi, and I have 1/3 times 9 squared times 15. And I get an answer of 405. So I'm going to bring that 405 down, and pi is just along for the ride, so I have to include pi, and it's inches cubed. Let's go ahead now and round. So we're going to now round to the nearest cubic inch. So what that means is we're going to round to the nearest whole number. So the way that I'm going to do this now is I'm actually going to type pi in my answer. So 1/3 times pi times 9 squared times 15. I'm going to look at the 10th spot because I want to round to the nearest cubic inch, which is a whole number. So if I'm wanting to round the ones place, I need to look at the 10th place. The 3 is not 5 or higher, so that means this 2 is going to stay a 2. So my final rounded answer is 1,272. So 1,272, and it's inches cubed. Remember, exact volume, that's going to have pi in your answer. Rounding to the nearest cubic inch, that's going to have a rounded answer. Okay. Once you press the pi button in your calculator like we did here, we pressed pi, you do not write pi again because you've used it by typing it into your calculator. All right, let's try the next one. So this one is a little trickier because in this problem, we actually still have a cone, but now we have 18 going all the way across, and that's something we want to be mindful of when doing the volume. So volume equals, this has one base, so I'm going to put 1/3 in front of my area of the base times height formula. Just be mindful, one base, 1/3. Let's continue down. So volume equals 1/3. I'm going to take a look at this shape, and I should notice it's a cone with a base shape that is a circle. Cones have base shapes of circles. So I'm going to use pi r squared as my area formula, and I'm going to stick height on the end. Let's go ahead and substitute in our numbers. So 1/3 pi. 18 miles. Now this is considered a diameter because it goes all the way across. If I want my radius, I'm going to divide 18 by 2, and that is 9. So my radius in this problem is 9, and my height is 18. Be very careful. This 18 miles is a diameter. So be mindful, 18 is not the radius, 9 is the radius. So again, what I've done is I've taken my area of the base formula, which is a circle, and I've substituted. My height here starts at the center and goes straight down. And now let's go ahead and we're going to do exact first. So let's go ahead, we want to do an exact volume. And then we're going to also round to nearest cubic miles. MI stands for miles. All right, so let's do our exact volume. Remember, to calculate an exact volume, I'm going to type it in exactly how I see it, minus the pi button. So I'm not going to be pressing pi, I'm typing everything in but pi. So 1/3 times 9 squared times 18. And I get 486. So what I'm going to do is write 486. Pi is along for the ride. I haven't used it. And this is miles to the 3rd power. To calculate a rounded to the nearest cubic miles, remember that is a whole number. This time we're going to press pi. Once you press pi, you don't write pi. So when you use it, you basically lose it. It's gone. You've already used it. So this gives us 1526.8, and if I'm rounding to the nearest cubic mile, I want to be rounding to the nearest whole number, so I should be looking at the 10th spot. So looking at that 10th spot, I have 8. 8 is 5 or higher, so that bumps 6 to a 7 for a new cubic mile of 1,527. So 1,527 miles cubed. Remember, if you're dealing with a cone, the area formula for base is pi r squared, but since it has one base, remember to put 1/3 in front.